Hey, welcome to our study called I Will Surely Bless You. We're looking at Genesis 22:15 through 24. Today we finished looking at Genesis chapter 22, which we started last time. Remember what we looked at last time? We had the monumental event of Abraham's life, right? God told him to sacrifice his son Isaac on the altar as a burnt offering. This whole situation was not for God, because he doesn't need anything. He doesn't need to know. It says that now I know, but was he lacking knowledge? No, it was now we know. Now we have the test completed. Now it's been experimentally done. Now it's been, fulfilled. The test, your faith has been tried, and now we know that it is good. It is strong. So that's what, and God often talks like that to his people so we can relate to him. Otherwise, how does an infinite God relate to a finite person? It's hard to do because we're so limited in our knowledge. And so he has to enter into our language. That's a condescension for him to enter into the English, or not the English, probably the Hebrew language there, and to talk to us. So now this whole situation was not for God, and it wasn't. It was for Abraham, right? It was for Abraham, but it was also for us too. We needed to learn about the great doctrine of substitution. That's what Abraham needed. That's what we need. Now, the doctrine of substitution says that Jesus Christ stood in our place. He took our punishment that we deserved. He became sin who knew no sin. James Smith said about this idea that the scene of Mount Moriah is typical of the greater scene on Mount Calvary could scarcely have been perfect without the thought of substitution being made prominent. The figure now changes. The ram becomes the burnt offering, and the submissive one goes free. You observe the sacrifice was provided by God. We have still Jesus before us, not as the Son now, but as the substitute of one condemned to die. Man found a cross for Christ, but it was God who found the ransom. Ask Isaac as he gazes on the ram burning in his stead if he believes in substitution. Now, we also saw in that passage a picture of resurrection. Hebrews 11 explains, Abraham considered that God was able even to raise Isaac from the dead, from which, figuratively speaking, he did receive him back. Abraham knew what the promise was, and he knew what God had also said. He did not consider that God contradicted himself. To the eyes of the flesh and the world, the commands of God seem to oppose each other. To the eyes of faith, there is a beautiful harmony between those. Abraham knew that if he did kill Isaac, Isaac must rise from the dead to fulfill God's promise. There wasn't any doubt. There was just hey, if I have to kill him, then he's going to come back from the dead. God's good on his word. He'll make it come true. So, and figuratively speaking, Isaac was as good as dead. I mean, he was raising the knife to kill him, so God brought him back. But God's substitution brought him back, right? It was because of the ram. There was another animal, another creature that was there to be sacrificed. It didn't have to be Isaac. There was a ram that was there. So, after learning some amazing truths about God's plan of salvation, or how the seed of the woman would bruise the serpent's head, we are now ready to hear the conclusion to this story. The text we have before us this week is, it really breaks down naturally into two main parts. There's verses 5 through 19, which explains what happened immediately after Abraham sacrifices the ram that God provided in place of Isaac. The second section is verses 20 through 24, where we're told of someone we haven't talked about in a long time, and that's Abraham's brother, Nahor. So we'll see those two main sections here in this study. So we'll come back next time and we'll begin to look at verses 15 through 19.